Best friends decide to do an album review podcast, and they'll call it Pajamas for Llamas too. So welcome to Pajamas for Llamas.
Awesome, man.
Hola, amigos. And
Hey, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say welcome to PFL, Pajamas for Llamas.
People are gonna wonder what the heck is that supposed to be.
It is something from high school.
Exactly. An old band we started up way back when.
Yeah, I need to come up with a more punk rock theme.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, but I love it either way.
Yeah, we'll have a bunch of different variations.
Sounds awesome to me. So today we're gonna do album reviews on 2 albums.
Yeah, we're doing an basic format is we review an older album and we review a newer album, and then at the end we surprise each other with what the next albums will be. Right?
Exactly. That's the fun part.
Yeah.
Okay, so first album, old album. We're doing Head on the Door by The Cure. And basically, both going to love this album. We both love this album.
Yes.
So, yeah, there's going to be some biased opinions on this one. Exactly.
Yeah.
What can you say about it? I mean, kicking off on the first song, In Between Days. First word that comes to mind to me is classic.
This is legit, okay? Legitimate truth here.
Exactly.
Like what I'm about to say right now is like verdad. It's truth. In Between Days and Disintegration. They're like my 2 favorite songs of all time by anyone from any time period, anything. They're my 2 favorite songs ever. In Between Days and Disintegration.
So basically, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Great song. Way to kick off the album.
Yeah, I mean, this song, it like makes my head kind of like swim in clouds and bliss and and all this stuff. Like my heart kind of soars, and it's kind of happy. It's like sounds real happy, and then it also sounds slightly melancholy, and the lyrics are a little strange. I don't quite know what they mean. So I've how long have we known this song? Like most our lives. So it's like I don't know. Yeah.
Well, at the end of the day, does it really matter what the lyrics were having to say? No, it's The Cure. It's Robert Smith. I mean,
right.
You put it together and it mixes. No matter, he could be singing about ingredients for making scrambled eggs.
I want that song now.
You know what I'm saying? It's not going to matter.
This is the omelet song. This is how I make my omelets.
Exactly. Salt and pepper to taste. It wouldn't matter. It's a great song.
He's like, I put a little milk in my eggs for volume.
Make them fluffy and extra flavorful. Exactly. It would not matter what he was singing about.
Duh.
It's like one of the best songs to open an album with.
Oh yeah, because I mean, just think of how the song opens, that drum roll. I mean, just that sound, just that little drum roll.
Oh yeah, exactly.
It just like sets you. It just it's like go. In a way, it's kind of like this album just goes like.
It is. I mean, and like you said, it's happy at the same time of being a little sad.
Yeah, I mean, and this song is the prototype for Just Like Heaven.
Exactly.
Just Like Heaven is like this song You know, I mean, basically, I mean, they're both in the key of A as well. So it's like they're very similar. And you know, they're both at acoustic driven with the soaring keyboards and the little bass, the Fender Bass 6 riffs over it.
Oh yeah, the bassist Boris, right? Boris Williams.
He's the drums.
These are the
Boris
drums. That's right. I'm sorry. Boris
Simon
is
Gallup
the
is the bass player, but
bass player. That's right. But that was like the first album Boris came back on,
yeah,
isn't it? Not?
it's
Yeah.
it's his first album. Yeah, Boris.
First album.
And Boris is
Yeah.
considered the best Cure drummer because he was the best Cure drummer.
Oh, well, see, I'm glad I brought him up.
Yeah.
See, you know, for a second there, you know, I thought exactly he was the drummer, but for some reason, I'm like, was he the bassist? I couldn't remember.
No, well, the bass I was saying the Fender Bass 6 sound, like
Yeah.
that's in those. I don't know if they're actually using a Fender Bass 6, but the idea behind those dun 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 dun, dun riffs is that Fender Bass 6 sound. But
Mhm.
yeah, it's just a great song. Did you ever misinterpret the lyrics? Because I misinterpreted the lyrics for years until I actually read the lyrics one day in the 90s.
Probably, I gotta be honest with you. I never really focused on lyrics. You know, I mean, it just kind of hums in your head. You kind of sing along with Robert Smith, but yeah, I've never paid attention too much to lyrics by The Cure. I mean, without Robert Smith, you don't have The Cure. So in that aspect, it's very important as a vocalist. But I've never actually really listened to his lyrics as a whole.
Well, my big misinterpretation was in the chorus. I used to think, so I know I was wrong when I said it was true, that it couldn't be me, that'd be all in between without you. That's what I thought it said for a long time. And then when I read it, it was like that it couldn't be me and be her in between without you. And I remember when I finally read the lyrics being like, well, I don't understand this song at all now. Like,
So now that you say that, I totally see this now. I've been thinking it the same way as you have the whole time.
because when you look at the lyrics, they almost support the misinterpretation I had. Like it's someone being, you know, kind of sad about someone not being with them anymore or something, right?
Uh-huh.
And I guess it still retains that with the actual lyrics, but now there's this third party involved, and you're like, what? But of course, it could be a number of things. Like you said, it's better not to concentrate too much on that.
No, but I mean, it's really funny that when you recited the lyrics, that's exactly how I heard it.
Yeah.
I never actually read it, you know, any other way. I've been thinking the same thing. So I'm going to have to look at that because, like you said, I thought it was the other way myself.
I hear this is a true story. I was making Valentine cards in the 90s to give to people, just as kind of like also like a flyer for some stuff I was doing online, and it's people around the art department and things like that. So it's just something I was handing out to people. It was kind of like a Valentine's it could be for anyone, like, you know, it was like a friend Valentine, not like a romantic Valentine. So, but it was more like a flyer for, you know, stuff I was doing online. But so I was putting the lyrics in the thing, and I was looking at the lyrics to make sure I got it right, and I was like, "Wait, what is this?" That was how I learned.
I got you. See, I always when I'm listening to music or listening to albums, I always focus on the music as a whole.
Yeah.
You know, and being a metalhead, you don't really focus on lyrics. You really just
Yeah.
hear the blast beats and, you know, the distorted guitars, what have you.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
vocals are just another layer to the song. You know, it's just like a noise or something you lay over it. You know, so
You know, that's a really good point, Don. I never thought of that. Like, always thought my big thing of focusing on the music first, and even the way I write music. Like, I thought it was just, you know, because I was, you know, that was where my interest was. Because like in art, I'm very much, I go towards the formalism. I'm more interested in the technical elements.
uh,
But yeah, now that you say this thing about, we were metalheads and we don't want to pay attention to the lyrics in a way because the lyrics are often really dumb and we don't want to have to defend the lyrics or whatever. We're just like, oh,
Yeah, the movie The Burbs comes to mind when they're doing a little chant. I want to kill everyone. Satan is good. Satan is our pal. You know, I mean that comes to mind when you want to talk about most metal lyrics, especially back in the 80s and 90s. Death metal and all that stuff that we used to listen to. But with the grunting and the yelling and the screaming, you kind of think of it as, oh, this is another instrument. Throw it on top, layer that feel, get that aggression out, That's the way I always looked at it. But I mean, when you get vocalists like Robert Smith, that actually you can understand what he's saying, unless you misinterpret his lyrics, as we both did. You just kind of take it for granted. Like his voice is an instrument also, it really goes well with what the music is. I can't think of the Cure being. I mean, if he die and they try to throw somebody else in there, people would be like, "No, I don't think so. No, I don't think so."
Hey,
knock on wood about that it doesn't happen.
Hey, on that note, you remember how recently I got that Big Country vinyl? Was that album The Seer?
Yes,
from 1986. So when I was going through, looking up stuff on that album, and I was looking up stuff on that band, I was surprised to learn that after the singer, committed suicide, however many years ago, that band has carried on with like different lead singers.
I had no idea. I have to be honest with you. I thought it was the end when I heard the news about him, dying or killing himself. Was it that they, that was it?
I mean, can you imagine, let's go to see Big Country, and then you're like, wait, isn't this someone in your party's like, isn't the singer dead? And you're like, it can't be. They're playing, and then like almost no one from the original band is on stage, and you're like, well, what is this? Like a cover act?
I can see where you're going with that. Yeah, I mean, you just have certain bands with certain singers, and I mean, you tie the band in with said vocalist.
Yeah.
I mean, Rob Halford, Judas Priest. I mean, yeah, he left for a while. They put in Ripper Owens, which, he had some pipes. He did well, but I didn't consider it Judas Priest. It wasn't Judas Priest, and it will never be Judas Priest.
Iron Maiden is slightly interesting because most people accept the Paul Diamato and the Bruce Dickinson, but they don't accept that other guy.
Yes, I kind of agree the same way. When those albums come up, I'm kind of like, what album is that? Who decided to steal their logo?
Yeah, yeah. Like no one wants to hear those the albums without Bruce Dickinson. They're like, no. I mean, everyone's fine with Paul Diamato because he was first and because he was awesome. And of course, everyone loves Bruce because Bruce was the best for that band. But yeah. Anyways, we're so off topic here.
We're way off topic here.
We're way off topic here. Oh, my last word on In Between Days. This is one. There's a few Cure songs that I've seen them live 3 times, and this is one of the songs they've played every single time I've seen them live.
They should. I mean, It's a staple. I mean, when I think of the Cure, this is one of the songs I think of.
Yeah, if you went to see them in concert, you're like, they got to play this song.
Speaking of which, they will be coming to concert, and they're doing the Disintegration album live.
Yeah, that is the rumor. Yeah, and they're supposed to have a new album coming out. They claim it's their best album ever and all this stuff. But
we're gonna have to review that one as one of the new albums.
Yeah, they say it'll be around Halloween time, so we'll see. But let's move along here. The second song.
Yes, hour later, right?
Yeah.
Kyoto Song. Did I say that right?
Yes, Kyoto Song.
I love the Asian feel to it at the beginning.
Oh yeah.
It's nice, and
dun, 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 dun.
The lyrics are actually pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
You got A Nightmare of You, A Death in a Pool, Wake Up, what is it? 2:45, I'm lying on the floor. But the night before, with the stranger lying next to me, I mean,
it looks good. It tastes like nothing on earth. It looks good. We can just be singing the songs for this whole podcast if you want.
Pretty much. Pretty much. You just don't want to have to hear me sing.
Go for it, man.
No, it's good stuff, man. Like I said, you got In Between Days kicks off really awesomely, and then you got the Kyoto song.
Yes,
and I mean
very different.
Very different, but it flows.
Yeah.
I mean, it just flows right into it, and already you're like, if you never heard this album before, and you'd be like, wow, all right, this is pretty killer so far. You'd be like,
yeah. I'll tell you something I really like about the Kyoto song is the timbre, all the texture, the oral textures going on. Like you got the acoustic guitar, which when I was younger, I never even really noticed the acoustic guitar in there. But listening to it when I'm older, I'm like, man, I love that acoustic guitar in there. And then you've got the synth trying to sound like a shamisen or whatever, doing the dun 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 dun, and you've got those little pad, those synth pad things, and all this stuff, and of course the bass, and
that is true. I mean, now that I'm older, I'm catching all that now. I'm able to hear all that.
Yeah.
Before you just hear the general melody, and then as you get older and the more you listen to it, you're starting to hear all this extra stuff that they put in there. And that's the one thing about The Cure that I've always loved is the layers.
Yeah.
That they've always had. And to me, they're like nobody else. I mean, nobody else could be The Cure. No matter how much they try to copy them, they still will never be The Cure.
Does this mean we need to review an album by The Essence in the future?
Yes.
Have you ever heard The Essence?
I've heard of them. Yes.
They were this act in the late '80s, maybe part of the early '90s. They tried to sound exactly like The Cure. I remember I had a friend in university. He was like, "Oh, have you ever heard this? It's The Cure. They try to use a fake name, but it's The Cure. Listen to it." And I was like, "That's not The Cure. That's But that if you look up just one song by The Essence, this is for everyone. Look up the song "Only for You" by The Essence, because that's a legit, super catchy pop song. But "Only for You" by The Essence.
Only for you.
Only for you. But yeah, Kyoto song's great, and one thing you can say, as you've already brought up, Robert's vocals, they're just fantastic. The whole album, I mean, but yeah, they
are. I mean, the guy
they
might
just
not
come
be
up
able
again
to
and
really
again.
sing, as far as sing, but his voice fits to me as its own instrument in the music.
I've never heard anyone say Robert Smith can't sing. I've never heard.
I don't mean it in the way that, oh my God, he sounds awful when he sings. That's not what I mean. But he has this thing in his voice that I don't know. It's just not. It's not typical. A typical sound to me.
Right.
But it always fit whatever he did, so I would never had any problem with it. If that makes sense to you.
Yeah. Robert.
How dare you? This is done. We're over.
I know. That's it.
You're no longer my friend.
You're talking about my favorite band of all time. Screw you. No.
Of course, I mean, no disrespect to Robert Smith. That's not what I'm saying.
Total disrespect. Don is totally dogging Robert Smith here. Send all your complaints to Don A. I can't remember the rest of your Twitter. Don A. This is. Hey, but I loathe you. But
hate rays, I can feel them.
What about the next song?
Yes, I have to tell you, The Blood is one of my favorite off the album.
Yes.
That song, it's just awesome, and it's got my favorite Cure line ever done. It's I am paralyzed by the blood of Christ, though it clouds my eyes, I can never stop. I love that.
Yes, the it's such a lyrics. I mean, we're earlier we're like lyrics don't matter, but the lyrics in this song are so vivid and so visceral and emote such a thing. Like there's a sort of that doubting Christian, doubting Catholic imagery in the lyrics. It's another song where it's kind of a question of faith and things, and it goes with the flamenco thing so well in the song. And yeah, that chorus, I am paralyzed by the blood of Christ. Yeah, it's a fantastic song.
Excellent song, and it reminded me a lot of Susie and the Banshees.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. That makes sense.
It makes sense. And not only was, he in the band with Susie and the Banshees, he also stated that when he wrote this album, that one of his main influence was the Kaleidoscope album by Susie and the Banshees.
Interesting.
So that was like, and I didn't know that when I first heard the song. When I first listened, I used to always think, "Oh wow, this kind of reminds me of Susie and the Banshees," without being Susie and the Banshees.
Right.
But the influence is there.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, that's another reason why it's one of my favorite songs.
Oh yeah.
And the chorus. I mean, those words were so powerful. Just those lines right there that I had stated that you had just vocalized it. It's like you said, it's visceral. It's vivid. It's out there.
Can never stop. You know what else is great in this song is the flamenco solo by Paul Thompson.
Yes,
his solo is so great. Of course, I love the flamenco aspect of the song because and
that's a point I wanted to bring up. Also, is that I've always loved the guitarist. I always loved Paul Thompson.
Yes,
and I always thought he was underrated. Like no one really said, well, this guy can play or he doesn't have any skill. And if you listen to anything that he's really done, that he does, and it's there. And I just think he needs to get due credit. That's all.
Yes. He is kind of he's looked at, I think, as like, the quintessential, guitar player, like second guitar outside of Robert to the band. A lot of people kind of shit on Perry Bamonte, but I think he was in kind of a tough spot, and he did the best job that he could do when he was with the band. But he couldn't follow Paul Thompson, and then of course when they got rid of him, they brought Paul back, and then Paul became.
That was on this album is when he kind of came back. He used to play early on with them, correct?
Yeah, before Three Imaginary Boys. So before the first album, he was in the band. Then he left. Then he came back. He came back actually for I don't think he's on the album The Top, because The Top is basically, for anyone who doesn't know, it's basically a solo album by Robert Smith.
Yeah.
That they just called The Cure. It's basically a solo album, but he comes back for that tour though. When the Cure tour for The Top, Paul Thompson is back in the lineup, and then he leaves after Wish.
Yes,
and then he comes
another great album.
Yeah,
it's one of my go-to albums. Besides this one.
Yeah, and then he comes back for the 413 Dream. And then he becomes Pearl Thompson at some point.
I was gonna say that. Doesn't he go by Pearl now?
Yeah, I think we are supposed to refer to Paul as Pearl, and instead of saying he, we're supposed to say she now. But
he's a she now. Okay.
But
I know he always looked the part, but I didn't know. Yeah.
So but that's what's going on with him currently. I think they do just like a lot of art stuff now. But he is considered like the quintessential guitar player. I'm not going to say he is the best guitar player, like in a technical sense, because that is technically the guy they've had playing live with them for the past few years. What's that guy's name? He played with David Bowie and a bunch of other people.
Oh, I know who
I
you're
can't
talking about, but I can't think of his name either.
I can't think of his name at the moment, but yeah, he's technically we're talking about technically great. Yeah, I mean, he's like, a super guitar player. But anyways, we're at the blood,
Another
the,
year right there. The blood, the
the
blood.
blood. Yeah, I know we're just gonna eat up forever on this album. So after that is Six Different Ways.
Another, another favorite of mine. Another favorite of mine. Um, if you, I looked up a little stuff. I wanted to get the lowdown on this album, and they talked about when they did this album. He actually the piano part for the song Six Different Ways was used when he was in Susie and the Banshees, Swimming Horses.
Oh wow, really?
Yes, it was that he actually wrote that for Susie, and he ended up using it on this song,
Wow.
which I love. You know,
Yeah, that's fantastic. And
that's one of my favorite. Go ahead.
and also interesting in that sense because this song, while it's like kind of poppy and it kind of conjures up images of a sunny day with a cool breeze and all that. The song is also slightly mysterious, enigmatic. I'm not quite, like what slightly mysterious, not in a dark way, but in just like I'm not quite sure what he's talking about in the song. But
That's I see what you're saying. It's like the lyrics are a little more mysterious and the sound of the song.
yeah,
Like the song sounds like it's straightforward. Like you said, like a sunny day with a nice breeze. Kind of chilling and exactly. And then the lyrics are a little different. But I could be honest with you, I don't know the lyrics on this one. I just always listen to the song. It always just made me feel really happy, so to speak.
Let's see. This is bigger than I ever thought. Six different ways outside your heart. I don't. I'm bad with remembering lyrics. No, 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 no.
I mean, like I said, when I listen to The Cure, I don't really ever really pay attention to the lyrics. I mean, I listen to Robert Smith, I hear what he's saying, but
Yeah.
I consider him more like an instrument to the music. He's really kind of what The Cure is all about. Do you know what I mean? So when I hear it, I just try to listen to the whole thing, and I don't really retain the lyrics. But then again, it might be my age because I can't ever
Yeah. wait.
remember anything or retain anything as it is.
We're getting a little up there in years.
Listen, you bastard.
But now you want something slightly different. What about big, loud riffs in a non-classic rock, metal, hard rock way? The song "Push."
I gotta say, dude, I love it. Every time, more I listen to that song, the more I love it. I just love that opener, and you almost want to feel like that song's almost an instrumental, so to speak.
It's interesting because like they go through the entire movement of riffs, like the entire thing, like in one go, and then on the second go, it's got the vocals. So it is interesting how it's built up like that.
Yeah, I mean, at first listen, you would think that, this is an instrumental. The way that it's written, the way that it goes, how the lyrics don't even start up till the very, like almost in the middle of the song.
Yeah, and I mean, the song literally just repeats what they do the first time again, just with vocals.
Exactly. I thought it was like a refreshing progression on the structure of the album. Like,
yeah,
this album's going. Every single song is great so far. I mean, you got In Between Days, Kyoto Song, The Blood, Six Different Ways, and then they throw this push in there. It's kind of like almost like an interlude. They throw it in there, and it's just it kicks in, and I love that opening riff.
Yeah,
and how it goes.
I mean, this song was kind of influential on me personally because there is a time I used to just do. You might remember this. I used to just do like work with a guitar, a drum machine, and my voice.
Yes, the old school way. I remember those days.
And so to fill up the sound, with just the guitar, this song sort of showed me a model of how to do these guitar riffs with sort of moving melody bits over open chords and stuff. So you have like, the riff melody thing going on, but you also have the middle by the open strings, and then you have you're holding down the bottom sort of slightly with, the bass note of your chords and stuff. This song has a lot of those kind of riffs, and they're all like super catchy and everything, and the song is kind of loud and stuff in a way, it kind of, you're like, whoa. I've always been sad about this song because they've never played it live anytime I've seen them.
Really? I actually find that very surprising.
I was very surprised the first time I saw them in '96 during the Wild Mood Swings tour. They're playing this song every show. So I was like, I'm going to get to hear this song. And yeah, they didn't do it. When they came to Houston, they didn't do it.
They knew you were coming. They're like, we ain't doing it. Sorry, Pedro.
But we got Piggy in the Mirror, which not everyone got, so that was good.
That's pretty awesome. I have yet to see them, so I'm really hoping to see them when they come, hopefully this year or next year. When is it supposed to be? This year?
I'm assuming. I'm
hoping. Because that is something I'd like to see. And
go ahead.
No, I was just going to start on the next song. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. Go for it.
The Baby Screams. I've got nothing bad to say about this song. This album so far, it just keeps going. It has no flaws in my eyes. So it's just another addition to the song.
Baby Screams kind of a feisty song with little cool riffs and great vocals.
He pulls his vocals up on the Baby Screams, and he goes that gets a little high there.
Yeah, like the baby scream. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I thought that
was and ask for more, you say. Yeah, that song's awesome. Strike me, strike
sing the whole song.
I can't think of the words, but the song's a little punchy, like,
Yeah. I agree. It's got a little bit of a bite to it,
It's the live versions of it are awesome. It's really cool
I've never seen it live, but I'd like to.
Yeah. Anytime the Cure comes up, I'll be like,
Robert Smith sings good. You don't deserve to.
Wait till I tell you about when they play the next song live. I sound a little more like the Macho Man there. Oh yeah, brother.
Let me tell you something, brother.
Snap into a Slim Jim and snap into the Baby Screams. But yeah, what about Close to Me?
Dude, another classic hit. I mean, this is why this album is one of my favorite by The Cure. Yeah. I mean, it's just one badass song after another.
And I mean, I was just gonna say, and this song results in like arguably the very best music video The Cure ever do.
Yes, I know what you're saying. It is a good video too. I do like how he does that wispy vocal thing. That wispy croon thing he does on this song. He does it so well.
Here's a question. Do you prefer the single version or the album version? The single version has the horns, and the album version does not.
I prefer the album version. And it's the first time I heard it was off that album instead of,
right,
the one with the horns. And that's just, to me, it's just kind of like it's sort of like a remix. It's like, well, let's go ahead and put that in there. And it's good. I just don't, I prefer the album version.
I have to be honest, I think I prefer the single version. Because, I mean, the horns really work well.
How dare you?
And then also another element to this, okay? And I know you I know what you're gonna say, but the live versions of this song are really excellent too. Uh, Robert does a lot of fun. He likes to do a lot of funny stuff during the song. So definitely check out, for anyone listening, check out all the various live versions of Close to Me you can find. I have a bootleg from I think it's from the Wish tour, but when they start this song, he starts singing John Denver's Country Roads. Country roads take me home. Dun, 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 to where I was born. And then they go into the song. Dun, 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 dun.
Well, that's an awesome way to go into it. I love that song by John Denver.
Yeah.
Can't go around by country roads, man. That's awesomeness.
Yeah.
Okay, so like I said, so far, not one flaw on this album for me.
Okay.
It's just one hit after another. The next one is the one I think is where the 80s kind of hit. Because to me, The Cure never, I mean, yes, you associate them with the 80s. We grew up in the 80s, The Cure were the 80s. But I've never considered them an 80s sound. That's the way I was. I always thought they were a little different than what they throw at you. But I thought on the song "Screw," the 80s comes out. Oh wait, there's this
a night like this.
Night like this. I jumped ahead.
You're jumping ahead.
I'm jumping ahead. How dare me?
Damn it!
Night like this. See, like I said, I can't read my own notes here.
Say goodbye on a night like this.
It's another great song.
Incredible song. It's so like melodramatic, and in like the best possible way. It's like very melodramatic, and it feels like it takes you back to being younger when things feel like your whole life is on the line or something. It's like got that kind of sound. Like,
I love the song, and my only criticism is the sax. I do not like the sax.
Oh my god, I like the saxophone.
I do not like the saxophone. I thought it was kind of like, okay, well, we're in the 80s. Let's go ahead and throw the sax in. That's how I felt it.
I won't contradict you. It is a very 80s thing to throw a saxophone solo in there, especially because if you look at the top, like the album before this, top,
yes,
and if you look at say The Blood, and then if you look at the album after this, Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me, the way they use sort of like horned instruments and stuff is always in a non-typical way.
Yes.
They use it for really weird things. But yeah, so it's kind of weird. Yeah, they just pull out this very 80s saxophone solo. But
I mean, you would by the numbers you would expect this out of any 80s band. You know what I mean? You're not hearing anything like that on this album up until that song. And then you're just kind of like, I mean, I still love the song, don't get me wrong. It's just when I hear the saxophone, I think of that Fear song, Saxophones Are All Right. That's what Don has said it wrong. New York is all right if you like saxophones. You know what song I'm talking about?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what comes to mind when I hear sax.
I legit thought about the muscular saxophone player from
Lost Boys.
Lost Boys.
Yes, exactly.
I kind of want to see a remix of the music video where that guy's in it.
Oh, dude, exactly. Or the Bruce Springsteen video
where
it's
Clarence
saxophone player clapping his hand.
Clarence, yeah.
That's another one I think of when I hear sax. So you can tell I'm not a big fan of the saxophone.
Yes, I see that now. You don't like horn sections. You don't like saxophone.
No. Don't give me. I like horn sections. I don't like the saxophone, especially if the sax is played by itself. It's
my goodness.
Easy. It's too easy. It's.
Dun, dun, dun,
it goes with the song, but that's my own personal taste. I don't like the saxophone.
I would be interested live. They always do, a very flanger guitar solo for this song. They've played it twice Like I think in as shows I've been to, I've heard it live twice, but they always do a very flanger filled guitar solo. I wonder what the guitar solo would have been like in the studio at that point in time. That'd be
You
interesting
know,
to see. But
I have to say I haven't heard that with the guitar solo. I do have some live albums, and
yeah,
then I've never actually listened to that song in particular that I can remember, because I'd like to hear it with the solo in it.
yeah. Although if you ever see MTV Classic, sometimes will play the video for this song that's off of the show that
Mm-hmm.
that live movie they put out after the Wish tour.
Ah, yes, yes.
And I don't know what's going on with the version MTV Classic has, but there's like a slight warping of the tape or something. So
Yeah.
everything sounds slightly out of tune, and I'm like, it does not sound like this on that live album movie thing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't know what's up with that. But anyways, moving along, we'll finally get to the song you wanted, "Screw."
Yeah, Screw. To me, it was screaming 80s.
Uh,
I like it. Don't get me wrong. Like I said, this album's still pretty strong. I like the experimentation of it. Has that more of a bass-driven
yes.
type song, which I thought was awesome. The only thing I can think of is it reminds me of the 80s when I listen to that song, and it's nice. It's refreshing. You know, it's like right before they're gonna calm things down, they throw that in there, and it fits. It fits the name of the song. Screw.
Yeah.
I mean, the way it sounds, it's just kind of like I like it.
Yeah, that bass riff is really like in your face in that song, and it's interesting that I haven't heard this song live, but live versions I've like from bootlegs and stuff I've seen or heard. This song can either go aggressive or it can go poppy, which is kind of I always found kind of interesting.
That is a little interesting because when I first heard the song, I thought this was a little aggressive.
Yeah, I mean,
I
it's that
didn't
bass.
get that poppy feel to it. I got like, okay, this is kind of a raw, sort of almost industrial,
yeah,
kind of sound to it, you know, and it's something that usually The Cure doesn't do. So I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, it's a good song, but yeah, I will agree with you that it's a little. I'm trying to think. Would you say it could almost be a B-side?
I would think it would be.
Yeah,
that's the way I look at it.
Interesting. Yeah, I could almost see it being more B-side quality than the rest of the album.
I do see that. Again, there's nothing wrong with the song.
Right.
It's still flowing with this album. I love the bass. I love the bass drivenness of the song. It's pretty much it kind of gets you, gets you going.
Note to any listeners: send hate message.
What?
Send your angry.
I can't help it if that's what it makes me feel.
I understand, man. What about the last song, "Sinking"?
Sinking, I think that's the wind down of the album. I mean, not only is it the last song, it just kind of winds down. You know, it slows it down. It
does slow down. Yeah, as it goes on.
Again, it is a great song. I mean, every single song on this album, I can honestly say this is probably an album I like every single song on.
It's another dramatic song, kind of moody. A little depressing. I like the lush sort of synths over the piano.
Yes.
It's got kind of a strong bass riff as well. Of course, like with everything else, fantastic vocals from Robert.
As always.
When I saw them on the Blood Flowers tour in 2000. So that show was a little heavy like in terms of they're playing, more, less poppy stuff.
Uh-huh.
They're playing a lot of the darker songs, and then I remember it was getting a little heavy, like this like a foot on your chest,
Yeah.
which I personally enjoy as an experience, like because I
The
love
Cure's
all
very
that
good
stuff.
at that. The Cure's very good at that.
And then they bust out in between days, and I remember it was like the whole place exploded like a bomb, like,
Yeah.
and it was like the thing, like the foot was sort of went off your chest, and you were like breathing, and you're like ecstatic and stuff. And then the song immediately after that was sinking, and I remember it just like shoved you right back down, like. And I just remember how emotionally heavy it was live. Like, yeah, so I love the song, obviously.
Oh, obviously. And again, it's a way to wind down the album. I mean, you kick it in with in between days, and then you end it with sinking.
Yes.
I mean, it's almost like you kickstart reading a book. You start out really strong, you kickstart everybody into the book, and at the end of it, you close it out. I mean, it's perfect on how they did it, in my opinion.
Yes.
I mean, I can listen to this album at any time. I mean,
Hey,
no matter what mood I'm in, this album is always good to me.
I have a question for you. What format did you listen to this album on?
CD.
See, original CD or remaster?
Original.
Yeah, I listened to the original too. You know what was interesting? The original, the CD sounds like super good.
It does. It really does.
This is not the case for all their albums. So
You're probably right about that. I don't listen to too many of the newer stuff. I'm kind of stuck on, my set albums that I do listen to.
right.
That is something I need to do in the future. Like I said, I always love The Cure. I know it's your number one band, but they've always been in my top, at least my top 15 bands of all time. But like I said, I think you probably have a lot more experience with their albums as a whole. I listen to maybe about 4 to 6 albums out of the
Right.
thing that I listen to on a daily basis. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but well, what I'm talking about is, say something like the album 17 Seconds.
Yes.
The original CD, which I mean, they didn't have CDs when that album came out, of course. So, but when
Yeah.
CDs came around and they issued that album on CD, it does not sound great. And then you listen to the remaster, and it sounds so much better than that
See, I
original
don't know
CD
because
sound.
I don't have the original of that album. I have
Right.
the re-release of that album.
Mm.
So to me, I always thought the album sounded good, but I have nothing to compare it against because the first time I heard that album was when I got it on CD.
Right.
The
Yeah.
remaster.
Yeah.
I mean, I have my go-to albums. I have The Head on the Door. My Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me. I like Wish. What's another one I listen to a lot of?
Disintegration.
Disintegration. Yes, that's definitely on the list. And I like the singles album. I listen to the Staring at the Sea.
Yes.
Yes, those are my go-to albums right there.
Yeah,
Those are the
so
ones that I grab. I tend to just play those all the time.
I am surprised you don't go to like pornography or faith.
That's another great album. Those are both great albums. But like I said, I'm kind of stuck on those. These are the ones that I
Right.
really, as a whole, I listen to.
I only say surprised because of say your deep love of punk rock and post punk. So
yes.
I
I
mean,
gotta say, I throw in, Three Imaginary Boys. I always throw that in. I love that raw punk sound that they had back in the day. I mean,
right.
I mean, I agree with you on that. But like I said, I had my staples on that. But as a whole, for this album, I'm biased, just like you.
Yeah.
But I rated this album 9 out of 10.
Oh wow, not
Because
9 out of
there's
10.
9 out of 10 for me, because there's hardly anything that I can consider a fault. Like I said, the only thing I don't like on this album is the saxophone. That's it. That's all I can say about that album. I mean, that is the only flaw to me.
Yeah, I mean,
But
I
I mean,
feel
it's near perfect album for me.
yeah, I feel 9 out of 10 is like a fairly accurate score one can give. Yeah.
Well, you like the sex, so it could have been a 10 out of 10 for you.
No, I mean, I think 9 out of 10 is more accurate because like there's really only two Cure albums that I will just legit say I feel are perfect albums.
Oh, well, I'm gonna have to hear these,
And
but
that
maybe we'll
is
do a review on them. So maybe we'll listen
right,
to.
but I mean, well, one of them is Pornography, and you can pretty much figure out what the other one is because it's my
I
favorite album
already
of
know.
all time. So
Yeah, I already know.
yeah, but let me do something real quick. I did some supplemental of listening for this. I listened to
Yeah.
all the B sides from this album, and the Exploding Boy. Are you familiar with that song?
No.
It's oh god, you gotta listen to the Exploding Boy. The Exploding Boy, and a few hours after this, if you listen to those two B sides, you're gonna be like, why are these not on the album?
Really?
I can kind of see why they're not in terms of the way the album flows, which we've talked about a lot. I don't see
Yeah.
how they would work on the album flow wise, but in terms of the quality of songs,
Uh,
they are like stronger songs than say Screw. So
really? Yeah.
yes, but like the Exploding Boy has this fantastic bass riff where
Why
it's
have I not heard this song? I
to what
mean,
now?
I, I, I just like why haven't I heard this song? I want to say that I have, but
You probably have
the
because if
title doesn't sound familiar. That's all.
did you have the cassette version of the Staring at the Sea?
Yes, I do.
Okay,
Yes, I do.
you
Hold
know
on.
how side two was the all B sides.
Yes.
It's on there.
Are you kidding me? I
No,
barely listened to the actual cassette. I
there's
listen.
the song
I
opens with
listened to
this
the CD
bass riff.
mostly.
It opens
Uh,
with this bass riff, and the bass is being played like a furiously strummed acoustic, like.
oh, wait a minute. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, wait a minute.
And then you get that dun dun dun
Dude, I gotta
dun
tell you,
dun
my age does
dun.
not bode well for me here.
And then
Let's see.
the acoustic comes in being furiously strummed as well. Dun, 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 dun. And then you got I know you hate saxophone, but you got saxophone and synth doubling this riff that's like dun dun dun. And then Robert's vocals are like really dramatic and sort of desperate. They're a little desperate sounding, like it's
Holy crap! It's sitting there staring me in the face. The exploding boy.
and
Yes, yes, yes. I have heard this. Oh my god!
I knew if I turned, knew
Just shoot me
if
now.
I turned
All
away.
right. So those who are sending the hate mail about what I said about Robert Smith's vocals, you could send me hate mail about me not knowing about the song being on the cassette.
Well, okay, but yeah, that B side is fantastic. And a few hours after this, oh my god, it's got this huge orchestral kind of synth arrangement, big soaring hooks. It's like your head kind of swims from it, sweeping, soaring, amazing.
See,
It's a song that feels many ways it's like too good to be a B side. You're like this song
yeah.
is like too good. And there's a song I wrote in 1997 called "Kind of Sort of." You can find it on my YouTube. But that song, lyrically, it's not similar. Lyrically, is very different. But the music is very much an homage tribute to a few hours after this.
Yeah.
And then, real quickly, the other B sides, "Stop Dead," "A Man Inside My Mouth," "New Day." They're like obvious B sides. Like they're fine. You know, they're fine songs, but they're not. You know, they are not anywhere close to album quality like some.
Yeah.
The "Stop Dead" was kind of interesting if you compare it to "Baby Screams" because some of the melody is very similar between both songs. "Baby Screams" being much stronger version of it.
And then a new day.
Yeah, there's "Stop Dead," "Man Inside My Mouth," and "New Day." Yeah.
Yeah, new day. You know, I have to say I haven't heard this actually on cassette since I guess high school.
Yeah, I can.
I've always listened to the CD. And I forgot about that it has the exploding boy and all that on the cassette, not on the CD.
Yeah, I can't get the song out of my head.
Yeah. So now I'm gonna have to listen to that later. All right. Now I know.
But
Now I know what I'm listening to later.
yeah, you gotta listen.
All right. So now that we got the Cure,
We got the older album out of the way. It was the
we got the older album. Now we're gonna start on the new album.
new stuff. Tell us what
The
the new
new.
stuff is.
Okay. We got a Pale Horse Called Death. When the World Becomes Undone. That in itself is pretty kick-ass. I gotta say.
It's a mouthful of a title, but
It's a mouthful of a title, but a name like a pale horse named Death, and then the artwork for the cover is like grounds to go out and buy it, right then. But we haven't talked about the actual songs.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So going into this, I do have a little experience with this band. I have their debut album. I actually found it at a resale shop for a couple of bucks. Opened it up, and then I saw that it had a signature on it, and the signature was, I'm going to butcher his name. Sal, I can't even pronounce his last name. Abruscato? Is that right? Old drummer for Typo Negative. And he also played drums for Life of Agony before Johnny Kelly took his place in Typo Negative.
Okay.
Who was also in the band as the drummer. So you go into this thinking, okay, it's going to have kind of a Typo feel to it. And that's how I started it out. You have that as it begins, that intro.
Yeah.
That demonic noises, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, this album's going to be pretty killer metal. It's just going to kick in. It's like those old 80s, early 90s, thrash and death metal albums that always had that intro with the demonic noises.
Yeah, the ambient noise, the intro and outros. Yeah,
exactly. So I'm kind of in a way when the song actually does hit, you're kind of like, oh, that's false advertising.
The piano.
So, the piano, yeah, the piano comes in, and you have that crooning going on. The guys singing, and then the song kicks in, and it really does have that Doom Typo Negative sound that I started digging on right there.
Mm-hmm.
It's I liked it. I liked the first song. I thought it was pretty good.
Which is the title track, yeah.
Yeah, the title track of the song. You're kind of, it gets you into the album. You're like, okay, this is giving me a certain way, a certain feel to it. And then you listen to it a little bit, and I think you said it to me when we were starting to listen to this album that it kind of had an Alice in Chains sort of feel to it.
Yeah, well, I don't know, not so much that song, but the rest of the album, yeah.
Yeah, but like you could hear it in there. It's like I kind of started on the first up. It's a little bit on the way he was kind of singing and how he delivered.
Yeah.
I liked that song, When the World Becomes Undone. I didn't necessarily like the beginning part as it came in, but once that riff came in, I was total digging on that Typo Negative style tone.
I found the guitar sound. The guitar sounds pretty good on the whole album.
Yeah.
But I found it's a little beefier, bigger on this first song than it is the rest of the album.
I can relate to that. I agree.
I don't really understand why that's the case. Like, why they couldn't replicate that on the rest of the album. But
I know exactly what you're saying there, because I kind of had that same feel. Like, why didn't they keep that going? Because then you hit, what is it? Love the Ones You Hate.
Love the Ones You Hate.
Yes. As the next song, and again, totally reminded me of Typo Negative. That same style riffage. It wasn't as big as the When the World Becomes Undone, but I can dig it. I'm all right with this so far.
That song, Love the Ones You Hate, to me made me think of Z-Rock. You remember Z-Rock?
Oh, yes.
It made me, I could see this being a 90s single on Z-Rock. It's kind of that 90s Alice in Chains kind of sound. Yeah. And this song really gets the transmission from outer space vocal effect starts coming into play in this song. which we will become very familiar with as this album goes on.
Yeah, I gotta say though, I mean, I was still digging the album so far.
Yeah,
I thought,
I
right,
actually
it's
I
decent.
like that song, "The Love the Ones You Hate."
Uh,
Again, to me, I could see us, you and I, and other people we knew as teenagers in high school, digging that song on Z Rock.
oh, definitely. We probably would have bought the album and been jamming on that, back in the day. That would have been the shit. But by the time it gets into "Fell in My Hole," I was like, holy crap, that bass though. That bass was really cool on that song. I really liked it. I thought they still had that killer tone with that palm muted chug.
Yeah.
I kept expecting to hear Peter Steele start to come in. To do his vocals here. I was like, okay, well, they're obviously doing some type of negative worship here. But when the chorus line comes in, you're kind of getting that Alice in Chains feel, that styling.
Yeah.
And you're kind of like, okay, well, this is what type of negative and Alice in Chains would sound like if they had a baby. If they got together and had a baby, this is kind of what they would sound like. So I mean, I'm still okay with this album. I'm still digging it. I'm like, all right, what else you got? What else you got coming? And then they got that what is it? Some Coming to the Event Horizon, which is a cool name in itself.
Yeah, but it's another like
It's another go
intro
ahead.
outro kind of deal.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like, okay.
I think it sounds a little bit more like an outro to the previous song than an intro, but you can look at it whichever way you want. I mean,
well, exactly. I mean, I think they're trying to tell a story here,
yeah.
But at the same time, you're kind of like, really, why did they throw that in there? It's not needed.
There's a number of those.
Yes, that's coming in. That's coming in very soon here. All right, we got Vultures now.
Strong Alice in Chains vibes.
Oh my gosh, dude! I'm on my notes here. It says right out of the '90s.
Yeah,
it did take me back to the '90s, and then I put on "Not Really Impressed."
Okay, here's my notes. Strong Alice in Chains vibes again. Z Rock sound again. I wish the guitar sound could be as big as it was in the first song, but the guitar sound is still good, chunky and loud. Those top string drone riffs remind me of that Genitorturers album we had in high school. Those are my notes.
Dude, now that you bring that up, yes, I totally see what you're saying. I have another little side note here. It says vocals getting drowned out. You're not really impressed with the vocals, and you're not really hearing the vocals. And then my last line here for the song, I found myself wanting to hit skip. I was getting really bored with it by midway. I'm like, okay, let's get something next. I'm hoping you got something else coming here.
Oh, boy.
And End of Days.
End of days.
Again, I mean, the album's about the end times, the end of the world, apocalypse.
Yeah.
It's a story. I get it. It's awesome. It's also, End of Days. That's cool. That's metal. I got my notes here. Nothing special.
Oh my God.
Was waiting for song to kick in at any moment. And it says, I have to say, I it's not a song I would listen to over and over. I was glad when it was done.
Here are my notes. More Genitorturers, Rob Zombie open string drone guitar stuff while bass carries the low end. The vocal effect they use where it sounds like their voice is coming from an old school ham radio or something is getting a little annoying. They're using it in too many songs. The chorus hook is weak on this song. This is the very definition of filler. Actually, that bridge was pretty cool. The best development in the song and a good foundation for a killer classic rock pentatonic blues scale solo. But now it is going back to the weaker parts of the song. Those are my notes.
I could have said it better myself. I did, though. I did like the solo a bit. I mean, it was nothing special, but I did think it added a little flavor to the song. And that's something I've noticed that they didn't have a whole lot of is solo work.
Hey, if you're doing Alice in Chains, because I mean this album to me was very Alice in Chains, like you said, Alice in Chains meets Typo Negative. But if you're doing an Alice in Chains sound, a classic rock pentatonic blues scale solo is the way to go, in my opinion. Throw in some wah is going to sound right at home.
Okay, that's exactly what I think. Exactly. All right, now we got the Woods. another one of those intro, outro things that they're throwing in here to tell a story. The only thing I could see out of this was it reminded me of the movie The Ritual. I don't know if you've seen that. It's about guys that go in a wood, and there's some kind of a god that lives in these woods that's starting to kill them off. And, it had that feel. It reminded me of the movie because the guy sounded, he was gagged and he was scared. My notes here, I actually, towards the end of this little intro, outro, whatever you want to call it, I said, just kill the bastard already. Get it over with. Let's get to the next song.
Yeah, I just put an ambient intro piece was all I put. Yeah. Ambient intro piece.
You know what? Yeah, ambient intro piece. There you go. That's what we'll call it. Like I said, filler. It's like they just wanted to fill the album with more, let's just add this in here. Okay. It's telling a story. No, it's really not, but okay. Then we all break down.
Yes.
Again, killer tone. I do love the tone of those guitars. I've always loved the Typo Negative. I like it here. I did not like too much of it. I think the only part I really liked of this song was this wind-up part that they did mid-through.
Yeah.
Right before the chorus line comes in. I liked that. And then I liked the power slides. They were very powerful. They were just, with that tone of that guitar, they sounded really awesome.
Yeah, I did note that the guitar sound on this song was closer to the sound on the first song than the rest of the album.
Yes. Yeah, like I said, the tone was great. But I found myself bored again on this song. It's like, all right, you're wanting to go in with it as an open mind and listen, and then you just kind of like want to hit skip, and that's not a good sign when you're listening to the album for the first time.
There's a thing. I guess it turned out it's like a really big bridge in the middle of the song.
Uh-huh.
But I thought for a moment, I thought like, oh, has this song been building to just like a really big chorus? But then it turns out to just be a big bridge, and I was like, that's interesting. Their bridge is basically sounds like a big chorus.
Yeah. I got that too, and disappointed again on that song. And then we have "Lay with the Wicked."
Yes.
The opening of the song grabbed my attention.
That then Blue Oyster Cult arpeggio riff.
Yeah, and then it just lost me again.
I mean, I thought it was a good idea to open with that Blue Oyster Cult arpeggio sounding riff to introduce the chord progression, and then it goes into rocking on that chord progression. But yeah, again, the fucking vocal effect and overkill and
yeah, not even just the vocal effect; it's the fucking vocal effect exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I put a long thing in here in my notes about it. I'm just like, it doesn't have to be in every song. It really doesn't. The cleaner vocals in the first song should reappear somewhere else. It is becoming more of a distraction as the album goes on. I guess this is just their sound.
Yeah, and then you got Splinters. It's love the guitar tone again. I mean, every song you're going to see me saying something of this sense. I mean, I do love the sound of those guitars, but I'm expecting to be bored by now. And I'm going in with this. Okay, well, what crap do they got going now? They come in with killer guitar and then they take it away. And I think on here they overdid the power slides. On those guitars, even though they do sound awesome. I just thought they like, oh, well, I don't know what to put here, so let's just do a slide. So the back end of the song kind of picked up a little, but again, just not too impressed.
I thought this song, I mean, I actually didn't seem to mind this song that much. I feel if they had varied some of the other songs up a bit, that kind of the whole goofy vocal thing they do and some of the Alice in Chains meets whatever sound like it kind of works in this song. I thought the song was kind of crying out for a solo. I felt there really needed to be a solo in this song. It felt like they were building to one, but then it just turns into an extended bridge instead.
Yeah.
But I don't know why they seem scared to do solos in this album. But I didn't think it was
I don't know.
bad. But it just was. I think at this point we're kind of burned out on the same thing again and again and again.
My point exactly. I mean, this you got Dreams of an End, and I find myself thinking, thank God, hopefully this is the end. I did think the added instruments were nice that they kind of put in there, but it was pretty much a continuation of most of the album. I mean, that's what I have to say about that song.
Yeah, I mean, I put Alice in Chains style song for sure. Not complaining. I'm just realizing this is their sound. They should be busting out. They should be busting out some Alice in Chains covers in concert. I bet they'd rip it up. A slow build, and we get a tiny bare minimum solo. Deflated there, won't lie. Some of these songs are crying out for someone to do some string bending and screeching. Not crazy about this song. Too long for being long. Didn't go anywhere interesting and didn't need to be this long.
And then you have Closure, right? The little outro.
Ambient noise outro.
Yeah. I got Wanted It, to close sooner. Needed closure more immediate.
You're like, I needed closure.
Exactly. So basically, if this was the soundtrack to the world becoming undone, the end of the world, you would want it to be sooner.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was that bad. I mean, I didn't hate it.
Right.
I wouldn't go, hey, I need to go get this album. I have to buy it. If I saw it, at a resale shop for $1 or $2, I might get it, just strictly on the artwork and the cover art alone. But as a whole, no, I wasn't feeling this album too much.
I probably would not buy this album at all. I'm like, if I really like something off this, I would just listen to it off YouTube. But I don't think there's much I'm gonna be like, I gotta YouTube this song again from this album.
Yeah,
but it's not garbage.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's not totally just unlistenable, but
it's just mediocre. That's my opinion. It's just it just doesn't do much. It's just mediocre.
What is your score out of this one?
It's probably like if it's out of 10, I guess it's gonna be like 3 or 4, somewhere in there.
Okay. I was thinking 5.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that.
The reason why is because I did actually enjoy the first 3 to 4 songs.
Right, that's
and
true.
And then after that, I was really bored with it. But
yeah,
I mean, I did like the songs a little bit. I did love the tone. The artwork is really, badass. So I mean, in that sense, I was generous. I gave it a 5.
Yeah, I mean I think that's a fair score.
Yeah, I mean, it basically, had a throwback to the 90s. Like you said, it's Alice in Chains screaming, like they worshipped Alice in Chains. And they sounded like Typo Negative because they had people that were in the band. Other than that, it was neither or, Alice in Chains or Typo Negative. So, I mean, it's about where it's at on that. So 5 out of 10 for me. About a 4 out of 10 for you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we got the new album done. Here's the kicker.
Yes.
You decided on the new album we are going to review. And
yes.
I decided on the old album.
Okay, what you want to hear first?
Let's go with the new.
Okay. Now, I have not heard this album. I just listened to a tiny snippet of 1 or 2 songs, and I was like, let's go with this. So, if this turns out to be shit, I apologize.
It's all good, brother. I chose the other one, and that was kind of bad. So,
but what I chose it's an album. It came out February of this year, 2019. It's called Quiet Signs by Jessica Pratt.
Quiet Signs by Jessica Pratt.
Yes.
Jessica Pratt. All right, I'm gonna have to check this out. In relation to Christopher Pratt?
You know, I have no idea.
I have to look that up and see what's going on with that. But all right, sounds interesting. I'm really excited to actually hear this. I've never heard of Jessica Pratt.
You know, I've never heard of her. I've never, you know, I just, like I said, just listened to a tiny snippet, and I was like, let's see. It seems like it's in the folk area, the folk singer songwriter area. So we'll see.
Okay, I can dig it.
All right.
All right.
What's the older one?
All right. Well, we're gonna stay in the same vein for a little while here. You know that I'm a big metalhead.
All right.
So we're doing an album we both love.
Oh.
Creator Renewal.
Oh. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's a good one. I thought so. I mean, I was kind of time whether I was going to do that album or I had a couple other ideas for another one, but like, no, I like Renewal. I'm going to stick with that.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, that's going to be fun. So,
well, that sounds like a plan. So next time it's a Quiet Signs by Jessica Pratt and Renewal by Creator.
Sir. Yes, sir. Excited, can't wait.
Well, I want to thank everyone for listening. Don, you got anything to plug or anything like that?
Yeah, be easy on me with the hate mail. I didn't mean any disrespect to Robert Smith. I love the dude. I love The Cure. Don't get me wrong.
He hates me. He hates my vocals.
I don't hate the vocals. I don't hate them. But that's for another day. That's another day. All right.
All right.
So signing off, bro. We'll see you next time.
We'll see y'all next time. Adios.
Adios.